Hey Suhana, how are you doing today? You're early in the chat today, and that's amazing. Yeah, just go ahead and ask a question to join the queue. There is no one else in the queue at this point. Yep, you are the first viewer. Okay, there are 2 viewers in the chat now. So, you're the first one to chat. You're the first one to say something. I also do general readings, so if you want a general reading, you can just say something like general reading please, or just general, or yeah, just something to let me know. I see I've got 3 viewers at the moment, so just letting you guys know. To join the queue, you ask a question that automatically adds you to the queue. I do general readings, just mention that you'd like a general reading if that's what you prefer. Thank you. So while we sit here and just waiting for a reading requests, let me think. What's been going on lately? What's noteworthy? The other day I spilled like 3-month-old beer that had been sitting in a bucket rotting for 3 months. Just a little bit at the bottom, because I used to brew my own beer, and I left that bit of residue at the bottom of the buckets, and the other day I spilled that all over the floor. I can only imagine how that must have smelled. It smelled like puke. It smelled like someone had puked all over the floor, and it was a fuck ton that was spilled. It's only a little bit in the bucket, but on the floor it was a lot. Spent a good hour cleaning up that mess. Taught me a good lesson though, you know, clean up your mess as soon as you make it. Otherwise you'll spend more time cleaning up your mess later. Keep your containers clean. Other than that, I've been practicing guitar. Part of my New Year's resolution was to improve my guitar skills substantially, and I feel like I've definitely evolved in my guitar skills since the beginning of the year. I was able to tackle a piece that I wouldn't last year, 3 months ago, I wouldn't have been able to take it on. And yeah, I add little bits of new movements and new keys and chords here and there, and practicing. I'm not deliberately learning Hindi. I haven't gone out of my way to learn Hindi, no, but I have a lot of Hindi viewers, and when you guys chat in Hindi, then after a while I start to make sense of what certain words mean, but I'm not taking a course or anything. I also get a lot of French viewers, but they very seldomly chat in French. I planted a mango tree last week sometime. I went to the shop just to buy mangoes for the seeds. I wasn't really concerned about the fruit, just wanted the seed. Did eat all the fruit though. Yes, please, Suhana, please go ahead and ask a question to join the queue. Don't hesitate. I also planted a whole load of cannabis seeds, only 2 of which germinated, only 2 of which survived. Like, there were about 8. There were about 8 that germinated, and I put them into pots, and out of those that went into the pots, out of those 8, 2 have actually survived and started growing. It's quite a high mortality rate. But then it was really hot, so that dish where I was germinating them, it got too dry. I didn't keep it wet like I should have. I'm a little bit negligent there. So I only have myself to blame for that high mortality rate, but there are more seeds waiting to sprout, so hopefully they do. Welcome, Morales. Please ask your question to join the queue. Please feel free, don't hesitate. As soon as your question is in the chat, you are in the queue. And the queue is currently empty. No one has made any requests yet today. I do give away general readings, so if you prefer a general reading, you can also just say general reading. But I see your question is there. Does Irene still miss me? Amazing. So you will be the first reading of the day. Suhana, I'm very sorry to hear that your question isn't going through. Perhaps you should copy and paste it, and then it will show. There's no such thing as coincidence. I mean, events do coincide, but it's not by accident. It's never by accident. All coincidences are synchronicities. In fact, synchronicity and coincidence actually mean the same thing, you know? Synchronicity, the root being sync, in sync, and coinciding, coincidence, coincide, also meaning in sync. So pretty much means the same thing. Welcome, Srabani. It's good to see you again. Thank you for joining us today. You know the drill. Ask a question to join the queue. I have 2 readings lined up. Amazing. Thank you for your question. So, does Irene still miss Morales? In the past, we have a Queen of Wands reversed. So this is telling me that Irene recently, it's something in the past, it's a past interval, so recently Irene has been feeling intimidated by the intensity of your expression. So you're talking about your desire, expressing your intentions and your passions, communicating them and setting, walking through the gateway towards it and then communicating about it as you go. And a lot. It's just too much for her. It makes her feel a little bit overwhelmed, like it's bigger than she anticipated, and it makes her a little bit scared. It makes her a little bit intimidated. So this is in the past. I feel like it's specifically talking about you expressing yourself to her regarding your desire for a relationship or to get back together or whatever it might be, coming on too strong, in other words. Coming on so strong that it's scary for her. That's basically what this card is saying, but that's something that has already happened. It's how it has been in the past. It's what's coming to a close. In the present, we have an 8 of discs, and this is telling me that Irene is going through adjustments in her reality regarding her health and her diet and her fitness. Basically, she has realized that her health is in danger. Something has happened that has made her realize that her health is in danger. So she has to make some changes to her lifestyle and her habits and let go of unhealthy habits, so that she can find a balance in her health and her fitness. And it's not something that she would have come to, it's not a conclusion she would have made of her own accord. It's something that has been forced on her, something she has no choice except to go through. Letting go of overeating habits, laziness, lack of exercise, spending unnecessarily on things that she doesn't really need, luxuries particularly. So she's just going through some shifts in the moment. She's making changes to her lifestyle and her habits, cutting out old habits that are not healthy, because she has realized something has happened. She's been to a doctor maybe, and she's realized that there are certain habits that are seriously detrimental to her physical health, and she's going to need to make some lifestyle changes if she wants to maintain her health and longevity. Future interval, 9 of Cups reversed, so what's about to open up? This card is saying that she is not likely going to take responsibility for her negative impulses as well as positive breakthroughs. So what's opening up is a period of self-reflection regarding her emotional interaction, the way she interacts with her emotions and the way she interacts with other people when they express their emotions. The card being reversed indicates to me that it has not been... There have been times where she has acted outside of alignment and caused harm to herself and others by reacting to negative emotions, but she's also made positive breakthroughs and held people up and given support in regards to emotion. And now this self-reflexive period, she's going to be sitting as she comes out of the adjustment phase. She's going to look back at how she's interacted with people on an emotional level and consider all the places that she fucked up and all the places that she did well, and find reasons to minimalize her success and find reasons to justify her mistakes. And that's not necessarily healthy, but that is what is opening up for her. This card does have advice for her, but unfortunately I'm giving the reading to you, Morals, and not to her. It would be great if she could hear that it's important to take responsibility for your mistakes and for your successes, so that you don't repeat mistakes and so that you can reapply your methods for success. It's quite vital that she hears that right now. But yeah, unfortunately we're reading on her behalf to you and not to her directly. And that concludes the reading. Basically, she is too focused on herself right now to be worried about what you're doing. That's what the reading is saying overall. Let me wait until I've shuffled again. Welcome, Emma. Thank you for joining me today. Sounds like me. Time for a cleanse and to tighten my purse strings. Well, only you would know. It's never a bad idea to be prudent with your resources. Welcome, Sorav, and you're welcome, Morals. So the next reading is for Suhana. Question is, will I marry Arjun? Do you want a clear yes or no from a pendulum? Or would you like a 3-card spread? Sorav is asking, can you tell me something about the current year? Thank you for your question. Your question adds you to the queue, so you will get your reading. Since we have a relatively decent number of viewers, let me paste this in the chat. Clarity you want, so you want a clear yes or no then. We can do that. I've got an 8 of Swords as a wild card for you. So this card is saying that in the moment you're examining what it is that you hope to accomplish from your life, what your purpose is, what purpose you're going to set for yourself, and you're acknowledging who you're going to have to become in order to see that purpose realized for yourself. You're acknowledging that and making the conscious decision to move into that character and become that person, the person you need to be in order to see the future that you desire. That's just a wild card. I will be getting your clarity for you now. On behalf of Suhana, will she be marrying Arjun? Pendulum is answering you yes, that is a most likely future. It's giving a slight anti-clockwise rotation, saying that you still have time to change that if you don't want it. But if you continue the way you are going, that is the future you will have. If you keep your mouth quiet and keep moving forward, that is where you'll end up. That is his intention. But you do still have time to say, no, that's not actually what I want, if it's not what you want. If yes, then when? Yes, I'm afraid I only do one question per person per stream, as I just said in the chat. Srabani is next. You're welcome, Suhana. What changes are coming to Srabani in the next few months? Thank you for your question, Emma. Your question adds you to the queue. Thank you so much. Okay, so past interval is the devil reversed. It's number 15 of the trumps. So what this card is saying to me is that you have experienced some resistance and adversity from people in your lives since 2022 began. Basically, people telling you that you're wrong in the choices that you're making, people telling you that they know better, that you should be listening to them, trying to make you feel small and them big, like they're more than you and you're less than them. And that's not healthy. It's not lacquer when people do that. It's not cool. The way it should be is people should just mind their own business and travel in their own direction. That's when this card is the right way around, where everybody just, where you stand on your ground and say, this is what I believe, this is what the choice that I'm making, and that's what I'm going to do. So never mind what you said, thank you for your opinion, but I'm going to continue in my direction and you continue in your direction, and that's how the devil card should work. But when it's reversed and then you express a disagreement, then the other person wants to invalidate you and make you feel small. So that's kind of what you've been going through 2022 so far. It's coming to a close though. So it's saying that not only did people do this to you, but you did it to them as well. So it was a two-way street. You felt like your opinion and your belief or your direction was more valid than another's, and so you tried to invalidate what they had to say as they did the same thing to you. Not a very healthy atmosphere to be in, but anyway, it's coming to a close. It's in the past, so it's what brings you into the present. Number 21 of the trumps is in your present, and it's called the universe. So basically this card, it's saying to you that in the present moment you have a vision of what your life should look like, and you're trying to make your reality and your present correspond with that vision. You are becoming, as you're doing this, you're becoming aware of certain shadow aspects within yourself. Those shadow aspects, they get in the way, they prevent you. They're things like laziness, depression, all kinds of negative feelings and triggers that keep a person away from actually taking actions, to actually applying themselves to make their reality the way they want it to be. So as you're becoming aware of these shadow aspects of yourself that hinder you, you are trying to find ways to work around them, trying to outsmart them, in other words, recognizing what kind of stimulus, what kind of media, what kind of activities bring those things up for you, and then you end up neglecting your responsibilities, trying to find ways to minimize the amount of variables in your environment that bring those shadow aspects out and cause you to fall into a dark hole. The card being reversed indicates that, yeah, because you haven't identified all of them, there are a lot of stimulus in your environment that's bringing it up that you are only noticing now. and it's kind of overwhelming. Like you take action to bring your reality into alignment, and then immediately something triggers you and you're stepping away from purpose, you're stepping back to where you were. But the card doesn't want you to be too discouraged, because you have to learn like this. You have to take action to make your reality correspond with your vision. And as you do that, you learn about the shadow aspects of yourself, and the more you see them, the easier it becomes to dance with them and overcome them, and find ways to minimalize their influence on your reality. Future interval is the 10 of Cups reversed. So basically this card is saying what's opening up for you is the opportunity to really express your emotions, or not necessarily express, experience them. So for a while, especially through this period of adversity where people were minimalizing and invalidating you, and now as you're struggling with your shadows, there are a lot of feelings that you're suppressing, difficult feelings, feelings of sorrow, just difficult feelings within that you are neglecting to face, and that creates difficult side effects. It creates side effects that impede your daily life. But what's opening up for you is the opportunity to allow them to be felt, to really acknowledge them and see where they're rooted. Why do you feel this way? Allow yourself to feel it instead of putting it to one side and ignoring it, allowing it to express itself, and then allowing it to evolve in you and reach its fullness so that you can express it in some kind of creative form. When this kind of card comes up for me, I end up underneath the table wailing and crying in despair. Well, it doesn't have to be that intense, but for me, when this card has come up, it's because I've been suppressing those negative experiences and emotions for so long. And when they do finally come up, it's a very intense and painful experience. But only by allowing myself to experience it like that and really let it express itself, only then can I find peace. If I continue to ignore it and ignore it and ignore it, then it just creates more and more side effects like depression, particularly depression, and lack of motivation that really impedes my daily life as I try to put one foot in front of the other. So when I allow it to express itself, regardless of how painful it is, when it does subside after that full expression, then I find some kind of peace and resolution and closure. So what's opening up for you is the chance to really allow your difficult emotional experiences to express themselves fully, to take them head on and face them, and whatever that memory is that brings that pain, to really focus on it and relive it and allow it to come out, basically, so that you can find some kind of peace and so that you can get rid of those nasty side effects that suppression brings into your reality. And that concludes your reading. Thank you very much, Srabani. So, just a warning to Adreja, spamming will get you banned quite promptly, so please refrain yourself from spamming. You can ask your question once, and that's enough. Asking your question adds you to the queue. So, even though I've said that, I see you continuing to spam the chat, so yeah, I'm gonna probably end up blocking you if you don't stop. Saurav Agarwal says, can you tell me something about the current year? So that is the reading that's up next. Just let me know if you're still here, Saurav. Welcome, Shetna Agarwal. Future reading for you, no problem. Your question automatically adds you to the queue. Just be aware that there is a queue, and I'm answering the questions in an order of first come, first serve. Saurav Agarwal is still here. Amazing. Feather-like, welcome. To join the queue, you must ask a question. If you prefer a general reading, you can also just say I'd prefer a general reading, and I'll do that for you. Your question got lost in the spamming. Okay, well, I can always just go back and have a look. Okay, I'm blocking you now, Adrija, because you just can't hear. You just can't hear me. When I say have patience, when I say there's a queue, when I say don't spam, you just don't listen. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. Okay, spammer blocked. Great stuff. Alright. Okay, Feather-like, I see your question. Is my co-worker and I alike? Does I like and like me back in terms of love? Okay, I think I understand what you're asking there. But anyway, next in the queue is sort of Agarwal asking about this current year. So you're saying that I'm a little soft. Let me bring this a bit closer then. There we are. What is on the table for Sorav this year? I'm so glad to hear that, guys. Okay, so your past interval, Sorav, is the Ace of Swords reversed. This talks about miscommunication regarding your purpose. So, when 2022 started out, you had a resolution for it. You had this desire. You identified what you wanted to accomplish in the year of 2022. But when asked by other people, you kept that to yourself. You gave them only as much information as was necessary. And it's not saying that's a bad or a good thing. You know, sometimes it's necessary to keep our plans and our motives to ourselves. What this card does want to bring up is that sometimes it is very useful to communicate your plans and your goals, because there are people who might be keen to support you, and when that happens, it's very important to apply discernment when you have the opportunity to express your intentions. If you know the person to be untrustworthy and destructive in their words, not being very supportive, then you know to keep your goals to yourself and your plans to yourself. But if you know that that person is supportive and helpful and reliable, then it is useful to express yourself with clarity, because those kinds of people might be willing to support you. The card is only here just to bring up the fact that discernment, you could have applied more discernment. Since the year started, you were a little bit unsure yourself. You yourself were unsure about what you were actually accomplishing. You had identified what you wanted, but the means for you to get there you hadn't quite identified, so you were quite cautious about how much you spoke regarding that outcome. And the card is only here to say that there were people you could have been clear with, who could have supported you, and there were people that it was a good thing that you kept information from. It's just something to learn from going into the future. In the present, I have a Queen of Cups for you. So in this card, the Queen is looking into the water and she's seeing her own reflection, and it's kind of blurry. It's not a clear picture of herself in the water. And what I interpret from that is that as you move forward, there are people in your present, like right now, there are people you're interacting with, and there are things about them that you appreciate, and there are things about them that you don't like, and this card wants to let you know that those things that you are appreciating and those things that you're disliking in the people around you is actually a reflection of the things that you like and dislike about yourself. And not only that, is the reflection is blurry, so the reason that they behave in a way that you enjoy and the reason that they behave in a way that you don't enjoy is not necessarily the same reasons that you would have for behaving one way or another, good or bad. I mean, good and bad are really subjective terms, but the things that you like, the reason they do those things is not necessarily the same reason you would do those things, and the things you don't like, again, is not necessarily the same reason you would do those things. Something to just acknowledge. More than that, this card is also talking about you having a desire for stillness and strength within your emotional being. And emotional strength looks like the ability to take creative steps and productive steps regardless of what kind of emotion you're experiencing. So whether that emotion is intense excitement or intense depression, still being able to act in a way that brings you closer to your goals rather than doing something that's inspired by the emotion. If it's a negative emotion, reacting to it will take you away from your goals. Sometimes with intense excitement it can make a person want to abandon what they've been currently working on and start a new project, and that can also be a form of self-sabotage. If you pick up a project and you've been working on it for a while and suddenly you lose interest and then take up another one, you never really get to any kind of outcome because you keep going back to the starting point. So that card is expressing that you want emotional strength, and the card is saying that the desire to have it is a gateway. It is as much the destination as the gateway to get there. Because you want it, you can start practicing emotional strength. You can just start developing it in your daily life. And there's no detrimental outcome to practicing emotional strength. It will serve you well regardless of what your future looks like. Future interval is number 19 of the trumps. So this is what is going to be opening up for you, and this is what your 2022 looks like. It is the Sun card, number 19. So this card, it talks about existing authentically. Like today is also the 19th, and as you saw, the tag on the heading is authenticity. So this card can be described as radiance and authenticity. Existing as your authentic being, rather than trying to deliberately make an effort to cause your environment to change. Like, if there's something that you believe you need to do in order to bring abundance into your reality, but it's something you don't want to do, and then you do it, you're draining your emotional cup. There are things that you enjoy doing that you could do that will also bring about abundance into your present, and that acting within alignment of that desire is authentic. Acting outside of it is inauthentic. So basically this card is here to warn you and to encourage you. It's saying that you are the center of your universe. You get to decide what your year looks like, to be honest. You have a desire of what you want your year to be like and what you want to receive from this year. When you look at the end of the year, what have you gained by then? How much have you grown? What does your life look like at the end of the year? And then realizing that you existing as your authentic being and taking authentic actions that are productive towards that outcome will get you there. It will be a side effect. The abundance that manifests will simply be a side effect of your authentic, productive action. And then the warning that this card is offering is telling you to avoid avoid taking on things that are not aligned with what you want. So there might be opportunities for study, there might be opportunities for new jobs or whatever that come up, and then the card is saying that if you're going to choose something from that list of opportunities that you abhor, that you detest doing, it's going to drain your cup, and that will leave your environment unable to produce abundance. It might look like that will secure you, but if it's something that you hate doing and something that brings you despair and depression, it's only going to be detrimental to you. It'll be counterintuitive to try and deliberately put yourself out because someone else has said that's better for you. Rather, stay authentic to who you are and do something productive that you enjoy, even if it doesn't seem to be, even if the thing you don't enjoy doing looks like it's more likely to bring about your outcome. The truth is, the thing that you do enjoy doing is actually where you will find your abundance and prosperity. And that concludes your reading. So thank you for joining me today. I'd encourage you to give me a follow and a like and perhaps even a share. Thank you so much for joining. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again soon. I look forward to seeing how much you have grown and changed since then. I hope that, I look forward to having you recurring in the stream so that I can watch you grow and watch your reality change as we get closer to the end of the year. So I just want to go to Facebook quickly and make a comment in my stream. Spamming will get you immediately banned. Just saying. And then, since we have a whole bunch of viewers, let me paste this in the chat as well, once again. Bingo. So, checking my queue to see who's up next for a reading. I believe it's Emma, but let me just confirm. Ah, it looks like it is Feifei on YouTube. Feifei wants to know what he or she needs to know about his or her relationship. Thank you. Okay, cool. So Feifei, let me know if you're still here so that I can do that reading for you. No, Shetna, it is not you. Please have patience. I can see everyone who has made a request, and I'm answering according to first come, first serve. Please have patience. Feifei is here. Amazing. What should Feifei be aware of regarding his or her present relationship? That's a wild card that just jumped out there. So basically what this wild card wants to make you aware of is worry. It's the 5 of discs, so it's saying that there is some worry about financial security and physical security in your relationship, and it's something that could potentially put strain on the relationship. It's talking to you directly, not so much your partner, saying to you that as long as you are applying your resources and your knowledge and your experience to their maximum potential regarding your physical security and your income, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're doing the best that you can be doing, and you're not, if you're applying yourself to your maximum potential, then there's no need to worry. and you don't need to allow worry to become a stressful factor for your relationship. And that's your wild card. So past interval, oh look at that, it's the Ace of Swords reversed. Once again, this card is just talking about how you identified what you wanted for 2022, particularly regarding this relationship, what kind of outcome you were hoping to see by the end of 2022 within the relationship, and when questioned about it or when asked about it by your partner or by others, you kept certain aspects of that outcome to yourself, didn't communicate it clearly. And the card only shows itself to suggest to you that in the future, when you are questioned about your purpose, the purpose that you're setting for yourself and for whatever intention you have for the relationship, just to apply discernment. So it's foolish to trust someone that you know is untrustworthy, and it's wise to trust someone that you know is trustworthy. And it is wise to distrust someone that you don't know. So, yeah, if someone is asking you about what you hope to see within the relationship, like do you intend to get married this year, and then that is the truth for you, but you don't know this person, then you can literally say to them, hey, it's actually haven't decided that yet, also don't know how comfortable I am talking about it with someone I don't know. But then if it's someone you know, like your mother, then maybe it'll be a good idea to express it to her, because she might have some good advice for you. You know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what that card is saying. Present interval, Two of Swords. So this card is saying that there is, right in your present, there is the potential to realize your outcome for this year regarding the relationship. Like if it is to do with marriage, like I discussed with the Ace of Swords, the Two of Swords is saying that there is right now in your present, you have the opportunity to set that in motion and make sure that it becomes a reality for you. It'll require commitment. It's like that potential that it's talking about is a seed. It's like a seed, and when you plant a seed, you know what it will grow into, but you also know that until it's grown, until it's mature, you're not going to get anything from it. So you continue to water it and commit to it and nourish it while it's growing until it's full, even though you're not getting anything out of it until then. So that's the kind of potential that that's talking about regarding the purpose that you're setting both for yourself as an individual and the purpose that you're hoping to see for the relationship collectively, whatever it might be. I feel like it's you intending to propose or hoping to be proposed to. And that card is saying that the potential for that outcome is right here in your present. It's right there, and you just need to grab a hold of it and commit to it. And then when it comes to your own life, what kind of purpose you're setting for yourself, whatever it is that you hope to see for yourself by the end of this year, right now in your present is the opportunity and the potential to grab a hold of it. And what will be required of you is just commitment and endurance, commitment to that outcome and commitment to that road of getting to that outcome. Future interval, Nine of Cups. So this is what is opening up for you guys in the relationship. And that is a card of self-reflection, self-acknowledgement, taking responsibility, particularly regarding emotions. So there are going to be some strong feelings that come up. Those are positive feelings and negative feelings that are going to come up. Things that are happening in the current relationship that remind you of traumas from past relationships that'll bring up negative feelings. And also new things about the relationship that you've not experienced before that will bring up some intense positive feelings. And what this card wants to suggest to you is that as you're experiencing this potential in the present, and as you're reaching out to grab a hold of it, while you're doing that, take a moment to reflect on your past relationships and how you interacted with your emotions and traumas, positive emotions and negative emotions. So I'd like to use a word. So let's talk about positive emotions as glimmers and negative emotions as triggers. I think that'll work. So basically, go and have a look at your past relationship and what kind of glimmers, positive experiences you had in your emotional being, and triggers, negative emotional experiences that you had. And then just acknowledge where you reacted negatively to those emotions and where you reacted positively to those emotions, so that you can avoid making those same mistakes in the future, and so that you can apply your same methods for success and breakthrough and support as you go into the future. Yeah, that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me. Please hit that like button and that share button and that follow button. You're on YouTube, so that's a subscribe button, a like button, a bell button. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then I see that there's a Jaya Power who has joined us again today. Thank you for your reoccurring view. Much appreciated. And a Sinna Monk. I'm just going to call you Sinna. Hey Sinna. So to join the queue, you ask a question that automatically adds you to the queue. Please don't hesitate. As soon as your question is in, you are in the queue. Be mindful of the timer. When that reaches 0, our free readings queue is closed. All readings become gratuity based once that timer reaches 0. So next in line is Emma Tompkinson. Am I still on the right path to peace and stability? You're welcome, Feifei, and thank you so much. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Emma. Thank you for confirming. Is Emma still walking in alignment with peace and stability? Oh dear, I need to reshuffle that. I left this card out. Is Emma on the road to peace and prosperity? Stability. Peace and stability. Past interval is a 3 of Swords. So this talks about awareness, becoming aware of your purpose, the purpose that you're setting. So just let me give you a little bit of a note on purpose. When you've identified what your heart truly desires, and then you apply your will to accomplish that desire, that is when you've set purpose for yourself. It's not something that's given to you by some divine power. The desire that's carved into your heart and into your soul, that each of us has a unique desire. And then purpose is the means to accomplish that desire, and we get to choose that purpose for ourselves. So this card is reversed. It indicates that 2022, there were certain events that began, were set in motion come 2022, that made you aware of certain aspects of yourself that were out of alignment with the purpose you were setting. You became aware that the person you needed to be in order to see your purpose realized was not who you were. You also became aware of what would be required of you if you were going to step truly into purpose and authenticity. It was a bit of an overwhelming moment to realize just what a gap there was between you and authenticity and purpose, because until then you had thought that you were within purpose, and then certain events took place as you moved into 2022, and suddenly you realized there was actually a lot more that you needed to be doing, and a lot more that needed to change in your life before you were actually aligned with the purpose you had chosen and the desire of your heart. Present interval being the 10 of Swords reversed. So this one is talking to me about how your purpose, the old purpose, what you had previously understood your purpose to be, coming to a close right now in the present. It's quite synchronous with your full moon rites, not yesterday but the day before. Closing old cycles, closing the old purpose that you had set. Whether or not it came to completion, making a decision to close it and shut it down so that a new purpose could be born, so that a new cycle could begin. And as you arrived in that place where you realized it's time to close the old cycle, it was a little bit, it's like seeing the end of the road is right in front of you, and you're like, okay, I've just arrived at the end of the road, where do I go from here? And so that card just wants to encourage you to start sowing seeds, start making investments of time and energy into the present moment, because that's making those investments towards whatever your new desire is, whatever your new purpose is towards your desire. So you have identified your desire, as we saw with the Three of Swords, and you have applied your will to accomplishing it. In the present, with this 10 of Swords, it's saying that as this old cycle comes to a close, start sowing new seeds into the present that are towards this new cycle, this new purpose that you've set. Start making investments of your time and your energy and your resources to seeing that outcome realized. Future interval is number 16 of the trumps, called the Tower. It's the right way around, it's not reversed. So basically this card is saying that what is opening up for you as you set new purpose and as you sow new seeds towards that purpose, those efforts are going to make you aware of your insecurities, the things you believed about yourself and what you were capable of that are not necessarily true. As you try and reach out towards your purpose, you're going to realize if there is anything that you believe about yourself or your capabilities that isn't true. You're going to realize it as you reach forward for your purpose and your desire. And then the card wants you to acknowledge them and work them out. Accept them. Once they've made themselves clear and you can see those insecurities, acknowledge them. Accept that this has been you, this has been your past. You have believed these things. You have justified these things about yourself. But now that you've accepted that it's part of you, you also have the authority to make a change there, rather than justifying it again as you move forward. So this card, it is suggesting that you do this. It's suggesting that you do this self-reflection and work these insecurities out of yourself, because it's healthy. If you don't, the universe is going to come and smack a tower onto you, and then it'll be a tower reversed. Unnecessary pain will come with that. The universe deliberately making you aware of your shortcomings and your limitations and your insecurities and the things that you believe that are not true. So if you can go through the self-reflective process on your own and come to those realizations of your own accord and accept them and work them out, then when events come up that would have otherwise knocked your tower down, you will be more secure and you can avoid unnecessary pain. So all in all, this is saying that what you have stepped into from since the beginning of 2022 is you stepping into the right path towards peace and stability. Sowing seeds now into the present is how you continue on that road, sowing seeds towards peace and prosperity, and then working your own insecurities out of your own accord, not waiting for events to come and make you aware of them, becoming aware of it of your own accord. And that concludes your reading. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for following me. It's always good to have a new awakened, wrong word, what can I say? A new conscious viewer, a new conscious supporter. It's always great. Thank you very much. You're also welcome to support me if you by the means by sending a donation, but that is entirely optional. welcome, Emma. Thank you for joining us today. Does your colleague and co-worker like you back? Well done. You remembered where you were in the queue. Does Feather's colleague like her back the way she likes him? Before I turn those cards over, do you want a clear yes or no? Because the tarot sometimes does that. It sometimes says yes or no, but mostly it just expands on what's actually going on on a frequency level, on a vibrational level. The pendulum will swing a clear yes or no answer for you. Welcome, Elisa. You want details. Cool. Elisa says, can I ask about my healing? I feel so disconnected. Sure, your question automatically adds into the queue, so thanks for asking your question. There is a queue, so just have patience. I answer the questions in the order that they appear. First come, first serve. You can skip the queue with a $5 donation. Okay, so feather-like, your past interval is the 8 of discs reversed. This card talks about making shifts and adjustments regarding your habits, regarding your expenses and your income, regarding your health and fitness. So these are things that you have been doing since the beginning of 2022. I feel like it could even be since you started working with this job. Making adjustments to your expenses, what you spend on luxuries, what you spend on gym contracts, what you spend on your foodstuffs and your security, what you spend on your necessities, making adjustments to that, making adjustments to your lifestyle and habits, so that you can create a better balance between your income and your expense. Having this income coming in, you don't want your expenses to outweigh it, so you're making adjustments to your necessities and priorities regarding your physical security, what you need, so that it can balance and you don't end up going into debt and can actually start saving. And you did this because you had to. The income you were receiving was less than what you had been receiving in your previous job. So then some lifestyle shifts were very much necessary. You didn't really have a choice. You had to create that balance. It wasn't a decision that you came to of your own accord, according to your own idea of what health was. It's something that your income forced on you, that you had to do it in order to create a balance. Present interval is a 2 of swords. And this card is saying to me that in the present you know what you want, and you want to reach out and claim it, and you have been reaching out and claiming it. So that's what you want, is a relationship with this colleague. What you want is the manifestation of your purpose. So you have a desire, an end goal, and the means by which you get to that end goal is the purpose that you've set, and you want to see that arrive in fruition, and you want to see it manifest. But yeah, this card is saying to me that in the present moment you're neglecting that potential. It's there and you've reached for it, but you are not feeding it. It's like if you plant a seed and then you don't water it, it dies, kind of kind of vibe. You've planted the seed, you've reached for the outcome, but you're not nourishing the process, you're not nourishing its growth into completion. So you might like your colleague, but you're not expressing to him anything that lets him know that you like him. So who's going to express something first? You know, the seed that you've planted is withering away. Water it. Give it some emotional support so that it can continue growing, so it doesn't die. Future interval is a 9 of Wands. So this is what's opening up, what you're about to step into. 9 is a number of self-reflection. It's kind of like isolating yourself so that you can, mentally and emotionally I mean, so that you can observe what it is that you want, and how you've interacted with that want, where you've taken actions that were detrimental to that desire, where you've taken actions that were supportive and instrumental to that outcome, to the desire that you wish to manifest. And the card being reversed indicates that there might be... The card being reversed is a warning to you. It's saying that it's very important for you to acknowledge the actions you've taken that have sabotaged your outcome, and the actions that you have taken that have helped manifest your outcome, so that you can make better decisions going forward. If you can't acknowledge where you've self-sabotaged, then you will continue to self-sabotage. That cycle will repeat. 9 is right before 10, so it's right before completion. It's the final stage. If you go into your period of self-reflection, as soon as you acknowledge your mistakes and your breakthroughs, and you learn from the mistakes and from the breakthroughs, then you enter into a new cycle. If you justify your mistakes and minimalize your breakthroughs, then you repeat the same cycle that you've been in. And so that's what the warning of that card is saying. You have desires that you're working towards, and you're right at the end of your cycle. You're about to step into the completion of that period and see the manifestation of your desires. And what you need to do is take responsibility for your past mistakes and your breakthroughs and successes, so that you can step into a new cycle as you go into the completion of this old cycle. If you don't take responsibility for your mistakes and successes collectively, then you will repeat the cycle that you've just been through, which will be lack of emotional fulfillment within your relationship. You might leave this relationship thinking that getting into this new one will bring fulfillment, but if you don't acknowledge how you took away your own fulfillment, and how it's important for you to fill your own cup, not up to that person to fill your cup, then you will repeat the cycle. And that concludes your reading. Thank you for joining me today. I'd like to encourage all of my viewers to like and subscribe and follow and share. These things are all very, they're quite invaluable to me, that kind of support. Also, donations are very much appreciated. Tips and donations, my links are all in the description. You can even check me out on my other platforms if you want to give me an extra like on those platforms as well. Thank you so much, guys. So let me have a look and see who's next. Shetna Argwal asking for a future reading. Please let me know if you're still here, Shetna. And then let me give a warm welcome to everyone who has just joined the chat. I see that we have Twinkle who has joined. Twinkle's asking for permission to ask a question. Guys, please don't ask my permission to ask a question. Please just go ahead and ask a question. Without your question, you don't get added to the queue. The question is required in order to be added to the queue. Sahu has joined on YouTube. Thank you for joining me, Sahu. Welcome back. So Twinkle did ask a question at some point saying, N, the one referred to as N, feeling towards me today. And then there's an Om Nama who has joined, who says hello, welcome, and hello. Good to have you. And there's Keep Up with Kefian. I believe we've done readings for you before. I'm just going to call you Keep Up or Kefian. I think I'll just call you Kefian. Saying what are Taurus's current feelings towards me. And Ashika, I'm sure Ashika has been spamming, repeating the question again and again, 3 times in fact. Ashika, your question is only required once in the chat. Spamming will get you banned quite quickly, so please avoid doing it at all costs. Thank you. Ashika says, I'm studying BBIS, and on the last year, will I complete it with high grades? And then saying, I want to also know about my personality. Okay, so I give away I answer one question per person per stream, just letting everybody know. 1 free question per person per stream. 1 free reading per person per stream. And then there's a Garima or a Harima on Facebook who's joined. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today and for your view and your support. Much appreciated. Guys, your questions automatically add you to the queue. I answer the questions as they appear in an order of first come, first serve. This timer, when it reaches 0, my free readings queue ends. You can secure yourself a spot and I will give you a reading regardless of whether that queue is closed. That is a $2 donation. And if you'd like to just skip the queue altogether, that's a $5 donation. Waiting for Shetna on Facebook to confirm if he or she is still here. Shetna Agarwal. Thank you for your question, Om Namah. Okay, I'm skipping Shetna. It looks like Shetna has left the chat. So next in my queue is Sahu. Angel message for me in upcoming months. Cool. Sahu, are you still here? Please let me know, because I know you have a tendency to ask questions and then disappear. Please let me know if you're still in the chat. Asking for confirmation from Sahu. Sahu, Jayostna, Rani Sahu. Okay, it looks like Sahu is gone. So, if that is the case, then next in the queue is Harima Mahajan. Harima Mahajan on Facebook. Okay, cool. So you asked for future reading on education prospects, and then you asked for job prospects. Which one do you want me to answer? 1 free reading per person per stream. You want your own job prospects or your son's education prospects? Which one? Your job. Cool. I'll do a reading for you now. Yes, thank you, Ashika. You have already said that 3 times. Please have patience. There is a queue. If you'd like to skip the queue, that's a $5 donation. Just please don't spam. Whatever you do, do not spam. Welcome, A.V. Morgan. Please feel free to ask your question, as your question adds you to the queue. Harima Mahajan is up next for a reading regarding possible job prospects. Okay. Thank you for your question, Avi. You are in the queue. What job opportunities lie ahead for Harima, and how can he secure himself financially? Om Nama, you can check out my description. There is a link there, and it literally says Facebook next to it, so you won't be able to miss it. Okay, so Harima, your past interval is number 15 of the trumps. It is called the Devil. It is reversed. So this card is saying to me that you've experienced some resistance from people when you've expressed what it is you want to do, when you've expressed what it is you believe and what you hope to accomplish. You've experienced people disagreeing. You've experienced them trying to invalidate what you have to say and what you hope to accomplish, making it seem impossible, making you seem foolish for wanting that, making themselves out to know better than you. And that's not nice. It's not lacquer to experience that. But the card is also saying that you've done the same thing to others. When experiencing that kind of resistance, you did the exact same thing back. You made your opinion out to seem like it was the right way and that every other way is wrong. And again, that's not lacquer. It's not nice. You know, the way that the Devil card should work, that kind of adversity, it looks like disagreements, it looks like resistances, but each person minds their own business. So you say to me, hey, I believe this is what I want to accomplish, and I say I don't think that's possible and I think you're wrong, but I'm going to mind my own business and let you do you, and you do the same for me. That's how it should look. Not ending up in arguments where we try and make our opinion out to be more valid than the other person's. That is something that's coming to a close. It's something that's in the past. Moving into the present. In the present, we have a 9 of Cups. So this is talking about an influx of emotions, both positive and negative. And you trying to identify where the root is. So something happens that brings about a glimmer being a positive reaction to an event, or something someone does or says, having a positive emotional experience as a result, and then also triggers where something happens or someone does something or someone says something that brings up a negative emotional experience. And then you, when you're feeling those things, trying to identify what is the root of this. Why does that action or that event make me feel this way? Why do those words make me feel this way? And that's healthy. If you can identify the root, you can experience it, you can express it, you can go back in your mind to that moment in time, and you can say to yourself, hey, the present doesn't look the way it did back then when that experience happened that created this attachment. More than that, you can also identify in the past where you've reacted to negative emotions, so when you've had those triggers that bring up negative experiences, and then you feel inspired to take action because of those emotions. If it's a fearful emotion, then you might be inspired to do something shameful. If it is a resentful emotional experience, You might be inspired to say or do something spiteful, and then acknowledging where you've done that, where you've reacted in a negative way, and how that hurt people and yourself, so that you don't, acknowledging those things and taking responsibility so that you don't have to repeat them going forward. Simultaneously acknowledging where you've had positive experiences and how that encouraged you to take positive action or negative action. Just acknowledging yourself and how you've been responding to your emotions in the past, and identifying the root of the triggers and the glimmers that come up for you so that you can better interact with them in the future. Learning from your mistakes, not repeating them, and then learning ways to reapply your positive experiences and reapply your methods for success and breakthrough. Future interval, 10 of Swords. So this is to do with your purpose coming to a close. Something that's about to open up for you is you letting go of old cycles, where that is you getting a job, losing a job, getting a job, losing a job, the same cycle that you've been repeating most of your life. What's about to open up for you as a result of this self-reflection that you're doing in the present moment, learning to cope with your emotions, therefore being able to let go of old cycles as you move forward. Choosing instead to focus on your purpose. So what does your heart truly desire from life? What do you want to accomplish? And then setting yourself in motion towards that, sowing seeds and making investments into that outcome. Identifying how you're going to get from point A to point B. Point B being the desired outcome, what you want to accomplish, and point A being where you are now. So how are you going to make that progress from point A to B? And then making investments and taking steps on that road to get there. If that looks like getting a job and working within that job until you are promoted and you grow, then that's what it looks like. If it looks like you starting your own business, then that's what it looks like. But letting go of old cycles, not abandoning a job that you've just been employed in, or doing something, reacting to a negative emotional response, something that gets you fired. Letting go of old cycles, acknowledging where you've self-sabotaged in your old career paths and career choices, where you've brought those to an end of your own accord by your own actions. Letting go of that cycle so that as you move forward, whether you apply to a new job and get it, or start doing your own thing, you won't self-sabotage. Will you get a better job in the near future? That's up to you. If you're always looking for something better, you're never going to find it, my friend. The grass is greener where you water it. So if you have a job right now, focus on that. Focus on growing there. Don't look to the other side of the fence. As soon as you get to the other side of the fence, that grass will start to die if you don't water it. So water the grass where you are and it will be green. That concludes your reading. Please hit that like button and that share button and that follow button. If you're by the means, you can also send a donation as a way of expressing your appreciation. Okay, let's see who's next in the chat. Next in my queue. Thank you for your question, Avi. You only need to ask your question once. Jaya Power, are you still here? Because you're next in line for a reading. You're next in my queue. Jaya Power on YouTube wants to know what Virat's intentions are. Looks like Jaya has left the chat. Who is next in that case? Twinkle on YouTube. So Twinkle, are you here in the chat? Twinkle is asking how... Oh wait, Jaya is here. Awesome. Thank you for your question, Om Namah. You only need to ask a question once. What are Virat's intentions towards Jaya? Past interval is number 8 of the trumps. It's reversed, it's called adjustment. So this last week, this last month that we've been in, this first month of 2022, up until this point in time, Avirat has been going through some adjustments, going through some shifts. These shifts were forced on him. They were not shifts he would have made of his own accord. Changes to his lifestyle and his habits that he's having to make. And that is because he doesn't have balance between his income and his expense. That's all kinds of income and expense. That's his financial income versus financial expense. That's his emotional input versus emotional output. There's no balance there. His cup has been running dry in all areas of his life. And he's realized, well, since the beginning of 2022 has made him, he's been smacked with events that have put his income and expense out of balance. His emotional input, emotional output. He's become aware that he's been either giving more of his emotional self and emotional support, giving more than he's receiving, and he's also realized that he is spending more than he is earning. And yeah, he is needing to go through some shifts and changes, letting go of old habits that are expensive, letting go of habits and lifestyle that didn't serve him, letting go of relationships that are draining his cup, letting go of anything that is keeping him out of balance. It's not something he's enjoyed, it's not an experience that he has relished going through. These shifts he was very much attached to his old way of living, and he is feeling quite resentful, and he has this tendency to blame the universe and you and everyone that is in his life for these shifts that he's having to make. But they are healthy shifts. They do bring him closer to who he needs to be in order to see his own dreams realized for himself. It's in the past, it's what's coming to a close. He's arriving in balance now. In the present, we have a Prince of Cups. So he's got a lot of emotional scars, and there are certain things you do and say that bring up difficult experiences for him and his emotional being, and for the most part he has been ignoring them, putting them on the shelf, saying, I'm not ready to face that, I'm not ready to deal with that or find its root. But now, in the present, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, he is realizing that he's grown enough and he's made enough changes to himself that he's ready to face those things now. So that's what he's doing. He is taking all of those difficult experiences, those difficult emotional experiences that he's been ignoring off the shelf, and he's facing them because he wants to find a breakthrough. He wants to arrive in peace. He wants to find some kind of creative solution to this emotional suffering. He wants to be able to express it into writing or into a song or into his work, whatever he's doing. He wants to express, he wants to use his creativity to express these difficult emotions that he has been neglecting. And that's what he's doing in the present. He's doing that in order to find a breakthrough and find some sense of peace in his emotional being. future interval is number 10 of the trumps, and it is reversed. So this is about reaping rewards, reaping returns, reaping harvest. That's what he's about to step into. So there are investments of time and energy that he's made into certain projects that he's had, and also into relationships. And he's about to see those things come to completion. He's about to see the returns on those things. But the card is saying to me that there are also negative intentions that he sowed. There were unhealthy seeds that he planted. So while he's receiving his rewards, he's also going to receive some of his own medicine. Some of the things that he did, or some of the things that he said in relationships, in his relationship with you, in relationships with others, those things are about to catch up with him, as much as the positive aspects of his investments. All the unhealthy things that he sowed and all the positive things that he sowed are about to catch up with him, basically. That's what that card is saying. He's about to step into that, and there's a little bit of advice that card has for him, and that's to start sowing seeds again. As soon as he's seeing the returns, as soon as his old patterns and old investments, both positive and negative, catch up with him, it's important to sow new seeds and make new investments into his relationships and into his projects. You can't be discouraged by a bad harvest. If you planted seeds and half of the crop died, you can't be discouraged from planting again, because if you don't plant again, you're not going to have any harvest next season. So yeah, that's the advice that card has. Also to learn from his mistakes, so that he doesn't sow negative intentions again, so he doesn't have to reap negative rewards again. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me and your reoccurring support. It's very much appreciated. Welcome back, Big Chewy Failson. I would like to know what changes I need to make in order to get out of my own way in life. Amazing. Your question adds you to the queue automatically. Thank you. If you would like to skip the queue, that is a $5 donation. Also be mindful of the queue timer, because free readings end when that timer reaches 0. A $2 donation will make sure that you get a reading even if that queue closes, even if that timer reaches 0. Jaya Power, there is one reading per person per stream. So if you would like to ask a second question and get back into the queue, you will have to send a $2 donation minimum. Having a look to see who's next. It was Twinkle, but Twinkle did not respond when I asked for confirmation. So Twinkle, if you're here, this is your last chance to let me know if you're still in the chat. Om Namah and A.B. Morgan, no, you guys have not missed your readings. They are still coming up. Please have patience. If you would like to skip the queue, that is a $5 donation. Twinkle is not here, so after Twinkle was Keep Up. Kefian, asking what are Taurus's current feelings towards me. So Kefian, Keep Up with Kefian, are you still here? Because you're up next. Please let me know. Awesome. Thank you for your confirmation. And thank you for your patience. Oh. So what are the Taurus's current feelings towards caffeine? Okay, so past interval once again. The last spread had the same card. It's number 8 of the trumps, reversed, called adjustment. So this is the Taurus, the one you refer to as Taurus, has been experiencing some dramatic shifts in lifestyle and habits in order to create a balance between how much emotional support is being given versus how much emotional support is being received. Same thing when it comes to spending money, how much money is being spent versus how much money is being earned in order to create a balance. And these shifts and these changes have been forced onto your Taurus. It's not been something that he or she has come to of their own conclusion, saying, hey, I think in order to have the future I desire, I need to make these shifts. No, it was the universe said, hey, I'm taking this away from you, so you need to make some changes if you want to keep balance in your reality. A difficult thing to go through, not something pleasant or it's not something that this Taurus has been enjoying. It's been a difficult experience. Might even feel inclined to start blaming people in the environment, blaming relationships and circumstance for these shifts. But truly, we alone as individuals are responsible for our reality and the balance between our income and expense, and income and input and output, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. But that's something that's coming to a close. The shifts have been made, balance is being found. In the present, your Taurus is reaping rewards, is reaping returns, receiving returns on investments. That's investments of energy and finances and resources. So whatever projects your Taurus has been working on, whatever efforts they have been making in their lives, those things are coming full circle now, and they're reaping the rewards of those things, reaping the completion of their projects, seeing returns on their investments, just reaping in the harvest. And that's what they're focused on. And it's a good thing too, because oftentimes when we get close to the completion of whatever it is we've been investing in, there are all of these opportunities that we seem to see, and they distract us from reaping our harvest, and then we end up missing out on the rewards of our own efforts. So what's happening here is your Taurus is focusing on himself or herself and reaping the rewards of their own efforts, not so much concerned about relationships or anything else that's going on, just focusing on their own efforts, their own projects, what they're doing in their career, receiving the rewards for their efforts, and enjoying their harvest. If they've just been to the shop and they've bought all of their food stuff, they're enjoying that moment and just taking a moment to experience the abundance that they've manifested into their lives. Future interval is the 10 of Swords. So along with this harvest, along with finding completion and reaping the rewards of projects that your Taurus has been working on, at the same time, your Taurus is ending old cycles, choosing to cut off old cycles regarding their own purpose. So they know what they want from life. They know what they want from a relationship, and they have been taking actions to reach that. And those actions have reached fruition. They've realized that cycle is now complete. They have observed themselves and taken responsibility for the mistakes they've made, and they've taken responsibility for the successes and breakthroughs they've made. They have observed where and how they gave and received emotional support. They have acknowledged and accepted where and when they have hurt people and themselves, so that they can learn from those mistakes and reapply those methods for success in the future, and that brings a solid close to the old cycle, and a new cycle begins for them. And as what's opening up for them is they're going to be working on sowing new seeds and making new investments and starting new projects, setting new purpose for themselves. So yeah, your Taurus is very much focused on himself or herself filling his own cup and or her own cup, not so much concerned about what the rest of the world is doing or what you're doing, what relationships are happening. They're focusing on themselves and aligning themselves with their purpose and their desires and their authentic being. And that concludes your reading. Thank you for joining. I hope you received some value from the spread. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video, and you can check me out on my other platforms if you feel inclined to support me on those platforms too. So thank you very much, and moving on. Before I move on to the next reading, let me just say welcome to Gugu. It has been a while. Thank you for joining me. It's good to see you. Asking your question adds you to the queue, so thank you for your question. I see you want to know some of the things are improving in your life. Want to know, you wanted to let me know that some of the things are improving in your life. Still a lot to go through though. That's really good to hear, and I wish you strength and endurance and grace and precision, elegance as you move forward and continue to make breakthroughs. And then welcome Presh. Please don't hesitate to ask your question, Presh Pandy. In order to join the queue, you have to ask your question. Just be mindful that there are quite a few requests in the queue, so if you want to skip that queue, that is $5, a priority donation. And this timer here lets you know how close we are to the end of the free reading session. If you want to make sure you get a reading even after that timer expires, that is a $2 donation. So Sam Ariel, please ask your question to join the queue. I'm sure you heard everything that I just said. So next in my queue is Elisa Manzini. Elisa Manzini, please let me know if you are here. Elisa Manzini on YouTube, asking about healing. Thank you for your question, Sam. Your question adds you to the queue. Letting me know that you want a general reading does the same thing, has the same effect. You are in the queue. Let me have a look and see how far that timer is. Okay, we don't have much time left on that timer. Free reading sessions will expire in about 15 minutes. Can probably squeeze 3 readings in there. The heat is starting to cause my machine to malfunction. Om Namah, your question has not been reached yet, so please have patience. Elisa is no longer in the chat, so we're moving on. Next in the chat, next in the queue is Ashika Shrestha. Ashika says, I'm studying BBIS, and on the last year will I complete it with high grades, but then change the question to, I also want to know about my personality. So that one. Ashika, are you still here? I saw you commented a few minutes ago. please let me know if you're still here, because you're up next. I'm ready to give you your personality reading. Thank you for your question, Presh Pandey. I hope that you get a free reading today, but the queue is quite full and this timer is quite low, so if you want to make sure you get a reading, that will be a security tip and it's $2. If you want to skip that queue altogether, that is a priority tip and it is $5. So Ashika's up next in the free readings queue. Thank you for confirming, Ashika. So you just want to know about your personality. What is it that you'd like to know? Do you want to know, you just want to know more about yourself, I guess. Okay. What has Ashika been missing that will help him or her better understand his or her personality? So your past interval is number 13 of the trumps. It is called death. It's the right way around. And this card, it is telling me about an ending of a way of life. Choosing to change lifestyle, choosing to leave a job behind, quit a job, or switch from one school to another, or move from one house to another, move from one place to another, or to bring about a close to a relationship that you had been in. So all of those things create dramatic change in lifestyle. They completely revolutionize lifestyle. They kill the old way of living and an entirely new way of living is born. So that could be moving, that could be new school, that could be new job, that could be end of a relationship, or it could be an injury, like actually stepping in a hole and breaking your leg. That can also create a complete shift in your life, or a near-death experience, something like that. It's something that you've been through, and I feel specifically like this one is talking about a job or education. Either you had a job and you quit it in order to study, or you switched from one school to another. That's what I feel that card is talking about. It might be implying that you also had to move in order to get this new education opportunity. But anyway, whatever it was, the whole old way of living and what you were used to and what made you comfortable, all that stuff disappeared from your life quite suddenly, and a whole new way of living came into being. But that is in the past. That shift has already happened. You've already grown quite accustomed to your new state of being and your new reality. Relationship, interesting. So it was kind of like relationship, job, location, and education. Quite a big death. Quite a big shift, quite a big rebirth for you. Those kinds of rebirths, the death card, it might be painful to go through that rebirth and the death of the old and the birth of the new, but it is always positive. The new things that come into your life is always more aligned with the person and brings them more into their authenticity. The things that we learn through that process always bring us closer to who we are supposed to be. In your present, you have a 7 of Swords. It's reversed. So this card is saying that you have a lot of options in front of you. You have a lot of responsibilities on your plate, and you kind of feel overwhelmed. Like everything has to be decided now. I need to take care of all of this right now, or it's all going to fall to shit. So that is decisions about how much you're going to study, what you're going to study, and how that's going to affect your job choices and career in the future. That's also about how much you're studying in the present. You've got all of these tasks that you have to complete, and there are so many of them, and you feel a little bit overwhelmed by it all. So this card is saying to you, identify what's most important. What is most important to you now in the present? Because you can order your goals on your chart, or your list of tasks on your to-do list in an order of priority according to what's most important to you and what's going to bring you closer to the outcome you're trying to get to. And then again, that advice that card wants to give to you is to really take a moment to sit down and choose the outcome that you're creating. So where are you going to be? What does it look like for you? Are you going to get good marks? Are you going to succeed? Are you going to fail? You got to choose that. If you're looking at all these possibilities, oh, there's a possibility I'm going to fail. There's a possibility I'm going to have to work at McDonald's. There's a possibility I'm going to be a millionaire. There's a possibility da 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 da. You can't have all of these possibilities, because while they're all there and you're not choosing one, none of them is becoming real. So you've got to choose one and then identify a way to get from point A to B and start actually doing it and commit to it and put one foot in front of the other and get there. Identifying what's most important to that outcome, so you can order your tasks on your to-do list in an order of priority and check them off in that order. So that's the advice that has for you. If you can prioritize, you can overcome your anxiety, recognizing that not everything has to be figured out right now. And then again, choosing the outcome that you're going for and choosing the road that you're going towards, and not changing that outcome, not choosing another one. Because if you've been working towards an outcome and then you're like, hey, I should have actually been going towards that outcome, then you go back to point A, you start over, you start from scratch. So the manifestation that you were investing on disappears. It's like planting a seed and watering it and then saying, hey, actually I don't want a pecan tree, let me plant a mango tree and then let the pecan tree die. That's counterintuitive. So what you choose, stick to it, commit to it, and find your priority list and stick to that as well. That'll help you deal with anxiety. It'll help you deal with the state of overwhelm that you've been feeling. So I just want to let Rani know that spamming will result in ban. Also, my chat just had a spaz episode. And it seems that I have lost all of my viewers as well. So strange. I'm just going to go and have a look and see what actually just happened. Rani, you're going to get yourself banned if you don't stop spamming. Something weird just happened, but anyway, I was busy with a reading, so I'm going to continue with that reading. Ooh. There, I disconnect again. Something weird is going on. You guys still have a video feed and an audio feed? Please let me know, because my system is really having a hard time. It's like everything's busy crashing. I don't want to continue with this reading if it's not going through, Prince of Wands. A.B. Morgan says, yes, I'm still here. That's great to know. We're good here, says Big Chewy Felson. Okay. Alright. So Ashika, your future interval card is the Prince of Wands. And this is saying that what's opening up for you is the opportunity to make some breakthroughs regarding your desires, regarding your intentions and what you're passionate about. So you have desires that you want to see realized, and you have set intentions towards them, and you're passionate about those desires. There are certain things that have come up in your life that have sabotaged your desires, that have taken you away from it, that has been difficult and challenging for you to work through. And when you were faced with those things, it was more than you could cope with, and so you said, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm going to step away from that desire for a little bit, and I'm going to put those things that I'm not ready to face on the shelf and face them a little bit later once I've grown a little bit. So what you have been through now, this death card, this rebirth that you went through, and these decisions and these priorities that you're getting straight now in the present, that process, past and present, has taught you a lot. You have grown a lot through that, and you have had new experiences and got a lot more knowledge. So basically what's opening up now is you are ready to take those challenges off the shelf and face them, because by doing that you will find a breakthrough regarding your desires. You will get that much closer to having what you desire and seeing it realized in your present. So the future doesn't really happen to you. You only know the present. You can't know the past, you can't know the future, you only know the present moment that you exist in. So what is happening when it comes to the future is you're not waiting for the future to happen to you. You're reaching out and claiming little pieces. You know what it looks like in your mind, what you want it to look like. So you're reaching into that vision that you have, and you're bringing little pieces of that vision and making your present look like that vision, changing things in your present so that it progressively, little by little, looks more like the future that you hope to acquire for yourself and manifest for yourself. Bringing the future into the present, basically, rather than trying to get into the future, because you'll never get into the future. Rather bring that vision of the future to where you are. And that concludes your reading. So I'm just going to go ahead and ban Rani from my stream, because Rani is not hearing me when I say shut the fuck up. Rani was blocked. Thanks. It's just too bad, Rani. You could have known about your exam if you had just had patience. You're welcome, Ashika. Please like and subscribe, and if you are by the means, please feel free to donate and send a tip. So I'm scrolling up to see who's next. I almost lost my cue with all of that. Wasting valuable clock time. Rani was most certainly wasting time and just irritating people, irritating me, irritating the viewers, making confusion, and I don't appreciate that. So after Ashika was Ritik Kaushal on Facebook. I really doubt that Ritik is still here, but I'll give him a couple seconds to respond. Ritik, let me know if you're here, because you're next. After that was Om Nama. Om Nama says, does Narendra stay with me even after my marriage? What type of love he is for? So, waiting for confirmation from these guys, from Ritik on Facebook and from Om Nama. If you are still here, Om Nama, you are next. Doesn't look like it. Moving on. So Om Namah, you have a few seconds to tell me if you're still here. It'll be really unfortunate if you left it. Okay, you are here. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Oh, Ritik is here. So Ritik is actually first. Thank you for your patience, Ritik. Ritik and then Om Namah. So I'm going to have a look at my clock. Let's see if I have time for both of these. No, I don't. Timer has expired. So Ritik, you will be getting the last free reading of the day. Everyone else who has been waiting, my timer has expired, so all readings from here on out are gratuity based or donation based, $2 minimum. Ritik Kaushal is getting the last free reading of the day. And the question was for a general reading. The request was for a general reading. Okay. What general advice and guidance does the universe have for Ritik Kaushal? So past interval is the Queen of Discs, Ritik. So this is telling me that 2022 looked like you arriving in an oasis in the desert. Like 2021, you were wandering through the desert. You had, like, everything was desolate. There wasn't enough. There wasn't enough sustenance. There wasn't enough emotional support. Everything was destitute and barren. There wasn't any abundance or any kind of prosperity going on in your life. It was like walking through a desert. Living your life was like walking through a desert. It was hardship. Your being was degrading. But arriving into 2022, you found some small enclave of security. By the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, you got some kind of security, a little safe haven to rest and get some much needed rejuvenation and self-care, having enough for a change, having some abundance and prosperity. Even though the world around you is still in the desert, you've managed to find this little bit of security that you have stepped into in 2022. It's a little more comfortable than it has been. Present interval, Prince of Cups. Okay, so what this is saying is that while you're here in this place of security and abundance, you're facing emotional challenges that you were not able to face while you were in the desert. So while you were in that place of where there was no security and no abundance and no prosperity, and it was kind of like stagnation regarding finances and health and diet and all these things, just having to make do with what you had. Now that you're in this place of security, you're able to face some of the emotional struggles that you had during that desert period. So when you were in that place of destitution, there were certain difficult emotional experiences that you were having, and you were like, no, I'm not ready to face these things. There's too much going on. There's too much I need to focus on. There's too much that I need to hold right now. I can't allow these emotions to get in the way. But now that you have this security, you are able to take those emotional challenges off the shelf and face them and say, okay, why did I feel this way, and why am I feeling this way? What is it rooted in, and how can I express it and allow it to be felt so that I can find peace and a breakthrough regarding those emotional difficulties? So that's what you're going through now in the present, and it's healthy. This card wants to say to you that you have grown enough and you have experienced enough that you are ready for this, and you will find peace in the resolution. So all of those things, when you were suppressing them and pushing them away, it was creating negative side effects on your life. It was putting strain on relationships. It was putting strain on you as an individual. But as you face it and you allow it to express itself and you act creatively, writing it down maybe, allowing it to inspire your creative process, that is a way of expressing it. And when you express it, it is laid to rest, and you can make a breakthrough from it and find a sense of emotional peace and stability. Future interval, number 7 of swords, 7 of swords reversed. So what's opening up for you is a little bit of overwhelm. Things that you're about to step into is a lot of responsibility being loaded onto your plate, and a lot of decision making that you're going to have to do, and there could be a sense of overwhelm that comes with it and a sense of anxiety. So these decisions and these responsibilities are all to do with your own purpose, and that is you. Purpose is you taking action towards accomplishing your desires, what you truly desire from life and for yourself. So what's opening up for you is having to make decisions regarding your own personal purpose, and having to fulfill responsibilities that are instrumental to your own personal purpose. And that looks like, it's a lot of things. There are a lot of things you want to accomplish, and a lot of things that need to get done, a lot of responsibilities that need to be fulfilled. So identify when this happens, identify what's important to you, so that you can work on your responsibilities in the order of their priority, in the order of what's most important to your life and your outcome. That will help you take care of the anxiety, because you'll be acting productively within your priorities. Don't allow things that are not so important, like side projects, to get in the way of things that are absolutely important. Fulfill the priorities first, and that'll help you cope with anxiety. And then the overwhelm, it can come from having all of these possible roads to get to where you want to be. So you know what you want, and you know that you need to get there, but how to get there from point A to B, there are many different ways that you could do it. And it might be overwhelming thinking that you have to make a choice regarding this, because like, which one is the right choice? Which one is the wrong choice? The wrong choice would be doing something that you don't enjoy, something that you hate doing, in order to get to what you want. Choosing to do something that you enjoy, that is still productive, that brings you towards your outcome, and it still allows you to accomplish your priorities, that is the right choice. And once you've chosen it, stick to it. Don't change your direction. Trust that the option that you enjoy is aligned with who you are authentically, and then stick with it. Don't switch it, because that would take you back to the starting point, and all the investments of your time that you made towards your outcome, towards what you desire, will have been lost. So stick to whatever it is that you choose. Walk on that road. Don't choose another road. And yes, that concludes your reading. And that was the last free reading that I was giving away for the day, guys. So anyone who has just joined the chat and would like to receive a reading, that is a $2 donation minimum. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream now. I'm not going to sit around and wait for tips. You guys had plenty of opportunity to send your security and priority tips. Just a reminder, I am here giving away this 2-hour free readings on a Monday, a Sunday, a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday at the same time. And it's always a 2-hour session of free readings. Once the 2-hour timer expires and the free readings are closed, then everything is gratuity based. God damn, scammers. Another note that I want to give to you guys, if you are still viewing, I can't really tell, my chat has malfunctioned, but these people who say they're drawn to you and want to give you readings and guidance, just be mindful of how recently they set up their account. Be mindful of how many friends they have, how many followers they have, and just look at how they do things. You know, when they're doing this kind of thing and they're going into other people's feeds and spamming them with these messages, there are 99% chance that that's a scammer. And then if you check out the page and you see that they've only got like one friend, and they made their account 2 days ago, then you can be 100% sure it's a scammer. And a note to you, Awoler. This is not the way that you increase your reach. This is not how you get new customers. You know, the way you do that is by advertising. You join groups that are specifically for advertising, and you let them know what you do. You don't spam there either, you just let them know what you're doing, and you bump that up every now and then by making a comment. Every couple of days you make a comment on your post to bump it to the top of the feed so that people see it and newcomers see it. Jumping into other people's feeds and spamming them, that's not how it works. Om Nama, my readings queue is closed. It doesn't matter how long you've been waiting, the readings queue is closed. If you would like to get a reading, you can wait for my next stream, or you can send a donation, $2 minimum. If you don't want to waste your time watching the video, then a $2 donation will make sure that you get a reading after, even if the queue closes, so you can secure yourself. You had plenty of time to secure yourself, actually. You still have time. I still haven't ended the stream yet. Okay. Wishing all of you wealth and prosperity beyond measure, and shalom salam. I'll see you guys on Friday, same time. See you then.